Good evening, everybody. My name is Stu, and I'm making this video this evening to bring you an idea of how we together, and I do mean we can make the world right. Yeah, honest, we can. And it's really very simple. And it doesn't cost blood. And nobody has to go anywhere to do it. We can all do it from our living rooms, from the comfort of our own armchair. This is the revolution of the pen, ladies and gentlemen. Nobody needs to be hurt. Direct governance. No longer do you need government to look after the affairs of state. You need to do it yourself. Instead of voting for a politician who says one thing before the hustings and then does something totally different, don't need to hire them anymore. If we directly employ an orator, a mouthpiece, somebody whose job it is to sit in a chamber, formulate the questions, set them for us to answer, collate our results, and then speak for the majority decision of our constituencies in that chamber. Whether that answer be from the left or the right or the middle of the political spectrum, it matters not. Because surely on every single policy that there is, we have an eclectic mix of views. Nobody is totally radically communist, same as nobody is radically fascist. We're all a bit of everything, really. And that is not reflected in our elections. Corporations buy elections before they're even run. They buy the man from the left and the man from the right. Maybe the man in the middle if they think he's a threat, and whoever you vote for is their man. I don't want that. That's not governance. That's not voting. It's not democracy. It's a game. Something to amuse us while they carry on doing what they want. Now we could cry forever about all the injustice and things that's going wrong in the world, but unless we're prepared to take up the mantle of responsibility for ourselves, then we will get what we get, because we deserve it. Our voice is our power. You give it to a third person, and what are they going to do with it? I promise I will do as I'm told, Stu. Yeah, right. That's it, until he goes through the door of the chamber and swears an oath to somebody else that he will forswear anything he's already said in favour of the crown. And I'm supposed to vote for that. But the funny thing is, when they con us into voting these people into power, what they're actually doing is getting our assent for them to do whatever they want to do, with no regard for us. I am an anarchist. But I wouldn't pull down our civil service administration. My mother would never forgive me if I got rid of a hospital. There's nothing wrong with the civil service employees. They do a grand job. Our forebears worked hard and strived long to give us what we got in our modern civilization, and I, for one, am not up for throwing any of it away. I only want to exorcise that is wrong with our society. The weak link. The part that is not needed. You think we can't live without politicians? Well, consider this. For 2 months of the year, they're on holiday. Who rules then? Every 4 or 5 years, they have a general election. For months on end, there's no government. But our countries don't fall apart. Everyone still goes to work, catches the bus, buys a loaf of bread. Life goes on. It's only an illusion that we need to give our power away. How can we make this into being, you say? Well, I'll tell you. The Inland Revenue, the Customs Department, they're very happy these days to use a government website to send us our tax returns. They collect our money very nicely over the web these days. So if they're that happy and secure to use that form of a computer to take our money, then they can just broaden that little window to allow us to vote. Let our orator set the questions on our voting page. Let us click a question and down pops the fors and against. And right next to it, a little button, yes, no, don't know. We can make decisions. We have Google. We have Wikipedia, we have social media. So really and truly, we can educate ourselves to the umpteenth degree in any subject that we choose. So why would we need a third-party voice to speak for us? The state has educated us in the first world. Thank you very much. You've taught us how to use computers. Thank you very much. Stop trying to stop us using it now because you don't like the way that it's going. Because you suddenly realize you have no control over a free will, over people who wish to talk to each other peacefully. It's a natural progression. There's not one question that cannot be put before the people. How many wars do you reckon they'll make if they got to ask our permission before they'll send a tank trundling across a border? Direct governance is transferable to any country in the world. It is a unifying equality. It is a respect for each other as people. I am no greater than you, and I do not believe you are greater than me. I have one voice. My voice is powerful, as is yours. I would really dearly love to hear your voice too. We can take control. If there is one service that the politicians can do for us before they stand down, that is to facilitate the changing of the guard, to bring the world into open democracy. We would truly have transparency For if everybody was asked to answer, there would be nobody to keep a secret from. Simple. Corporations can't bribe and corrupt every single one of us to get a decision. Lobbying will be out the window. Outrages, like what happens in the stock exchanges around the globe, would be a thing of the past. We simply would not allow it. I know, because I believe that the heart of man is good. And if you ask him a logical question, he'll do the right thing. So if you're asking me now, what do we do in this second year of our revolution, I'll tell you this much. It's man up. It's man up to the responsibility that it is our fault that we've allowed the bankers to get away with this. I want you to man up to the fact that it is our fault that we send our boys and girls across the borders to fight and die in wars for people to get rich on. We are one. It's about time we took up that responsibility. And if there was anything to do for this next year, I would say, go home. Go back in front of your computer. Use your social media. Tell everybody about direct governance. Explain to them how they can use their voice to affect the change in the world that they want to see as well. And tell them how simple it could be if only they could get their politician to stand down. An orator would not be able to be corrupted because the constituents would employ them. They would buy a house in a city, wherever the orator had to go to put them up. It wouldn't belong to the orator, it would belong to the constituency, so that there would not be this continuous rolling of costs of keeping these people. There is no need. We need a voice to talk for us. We don't need a brain behind that voice thinking what it can do with that voice. We just need a voice which listens to the people and speaks for the majority. There you go. If you've got any questions about this, post them below. Keep it civil. And what I'll do is I'll make another video and I'll answer your questions if you have any. Hopefully you won't. You'll just click on it. It can be that simple. As far as third world developing countries go, and well, any country that can't afford it, I would say if we can find enough computers to put one in every village with a satellite hookup, and then send people to teach them to use it, we can listen to their voices too. Because I want to hear their voices. I want to hear what they have to say. Open governance, ladies and gentlemen. Transparency. It can be ours. It is, after all, a revolution of the pen. No blood needs to be spilled. That's it. I'll speak to you again soon. Ta-ra.